Hello, everyone, and welcome to Orange is the Black review and recaps here on What the Flick. Guess what? Almost everyone's different from last week. I am joined by Jayar Jackson, Michelle Boley, the only returner, and Ana Kasparian, super into the theme of this show, for sure. So we're going to talk about episodes 4, 5, and 6, roughly in order. Starting with episode 4, Finger in the Dike. This is Big Boo's central episode, and we find out a lot of where she's coming from, why she's so aggressive.
I don't care what you want, I'm not fucking wearing it.
Why do you have to be such a bitch all the time?
Because you're such a good role model.
Do you want the kids to make fun of you?
I think these flashbacks are really good at making us feel for the characters, understand who they are, and actually have more sympathy for them, because before with Big Boo, I didn't really feel much for her, but now I get it. I feel like I get it.
I'm noticing, I think in this season, I don't know, maybe I was missing it before, but I feel like there's a lot more quick references or quick socio-political messages happening.
Yes.
In each of these last 3 especially I've been seeing. And every time because the mind we come to with the main show that we do here is, I'm like, oh man, if conservatives or particular people watching this, they're gonna be like, oh, look what this show has become. Look at them speaking these lib talking points. And so this one was obviously definitely doing that with giving her backstory, telling her where the anger comes from, and then also being so defiant and be like, I'm not giving in. I don't care who you are, from my parents to just some asshole on the street.
Well, and they definitely get into like those kind of extremist Christian groups in this one, and like that idea of like, can she go and pretend to be something she's not, pretend to have prayed the gay away, and like take their money, and in the end, like, she just can't do it.
What was it that turned you to the light?
Well, I prayed a lot, and then Jesus came in me.
We learn it's so important to her. She says, I will be not made to feel invisible.
Well, it's her identity, and you know, she's being told that she needs to dress a certain way. She's being told that she needs to refer to those in her community in a very negative way, and she just can't do it. And I love the backstories because it not only humanizes the inmates, but it also kind of speaks to what we're going through in our current justice system. We treat our inmates like crap because we all feel that they're just throwaways, but the reality is they have these pasts that might have been, you know, disadvantaged, and as a result, they ended up doing things that weren't so great, but you got to understand why they did those things.
Some that were disadvantaged and some that were advantaged is what I like about also what they've been doing too, no matter what. And when you find out later, no matter how, whatever kinds of angles or games they have to play once they're behind bars, they were trying to play a different role when they were out. You know, someone may seem very scheming in prison, on this show at least, and then on the outside, they were just living their life. And as we're going to talk about in the next episode, which is in this, Flaca was talking about how sometimes you're just young and you just make a mistake. Yeah. And it's as simple as that.
You know, you were talking about liberal versus like conservative and how they are. I mean, they're definitely bringing that up. They kind of open it up with Doggett giving that speech about how like corporate like America is better.
They give you religious freedom.
Exactly, and religious freedom means that you get to be a Christian and make everyone feel bad because they don't agree with you, and that's illegal. And that's like basically the statement that props to the writers.
Well, like, on that note about messages, episode 4 is also where Caputo was giving the tour to the private prison company. And we heard things like, oh, our meals are only $178. It's great. And they go, well, national average is $156. We can't do that. We can't have women with their health concerns, you know, being expensive and stuff. And I was curious. I know you have very strong opinions on the private prison system.
Yeah, the private prison angle in this season is so incredible to me because it's such a huge problem in the US that I don't think gets enough traction. It doesn't get enough attention. And it really hones in on how when you have a private entity in charge of something that should be a public entity, all they care about is profit. So they don't care about rehabilitating inmates. They don't care about the health and well-being of inmates. All they really care about is making a buck, even if it means giving them the absolute cheapest food, not giving them the sanitary things that they need in order to deal with feminine hygiene, that kind of stuff. And so there are so many political themes that are woven into the show, and I freaking love it. I think it's really powerful.
And they kind of kick off with them cutting all the hours of the employees. You're dealing with kind of union issues already. Like right when they get in there, you see that they're starting to make it so that basically they've fired the warden. They've lost that system of command that like looks out for the women, and suddenly it's just a corporation. And we have this talk of the other job. I don't remember if that's episode 1. I think it's brought in episode 1, but we're going to see it more later.
So I was just wondering.
Well, let's just cap off episode 4 and move on to episode 5 because we're dying to talk about the new jobs. Also, what happens is Tasty helps Suzanne cope with the death of V, and she herself needs to cope as well. We have Piper turning 32, and Alex teasing her a little bit. I hate their relationship less, I guess.
It's weird.
Their relationship
I'm having
is
trouble
abusive.
following it.
I don't like it.
I called you my girlfriend.
What? To who?
To my parents.
And especially after she comes out and calls her girlfriend, it seems more like she is looking to say that she is not losing time. She's looking to define her life in this positive way, but it feels very forced. It doesn't feel like...
It feels like a last resort.
Yeah.
It feels like desperation, and it's uncomfortable because their relationship is emotionally abusive, if you ask me. So it's weird to watch it. And also, in this season, you kind of get a sense of just how manipulative Piper really is.
She's horrible.
She's just not a very likable character in this season.
And not sympathetic. Not sympathetic towards Voss's concerns, like, at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So do we see it as just that one way? I feel like they're both doing it to each other. One episode I dislike one, and the next episode I dislike the other.
Alex is also manipulative, but for some reason there's something a little more likable about her.
This season. I mean, I think, that's the thing.
Right.
This season, we aren't going back and seeing what we saw before, which is clearly that Voss put her there. And I mean, there's reasons to hate Voss, but I just think right now we're seeing
Piper put her in this time.
Exactly.
I don't know if for her own good or not really so much. I mean, she becomes really worried, paranoid as we move on to, let's move on. Episode 5, Fake It Till You Make It Some More. This is Flaca's central episode, and we learn where she's coming from. I didn't realize how young she is. She was working on that peach dress from 2011, so I don't know, is she in her early 20s now?
Oh, yeah, and she seems young. I mean, think about it. She was thrown in jail when she was still in high school. So she is, I mean, she's a baby. And for such, like, it's not that that's a trivial thing. Like, it's a big deal to sell fake drugs, but you also don't think that you're really doing anything wrong. You know what I mean?
I didn't even realize that was a crime.
System. No, exactly. Well, and I'm sure you could get suspended if you did it and no one died. But because this kid dies, I mean, it's over for her.
And there's many ways it could happen. I've heard stories, and then actually heard when kids will do something like, say they're acting like it's cocaine, and they put random things, washing powder, it's powder form, and who knows what that happens when you snort that, and some kid may think it's something like that, So when, there's many ways, and I feel like they approached it with this kid acting like he was losing his mind or whatever he may have been on to allow him to dive off the roof of the building. There's other ways. I'm not sure if they wanted to get too graphic and have some kid snort some random substance and kill himself, but this seemed like the light way to do it, with her just putting tabs of paper.
Right.
I was
it's supposed to be acid, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that it's funny because every time I see those parts of the show, I just automatically think about news and politics and what we cover on the Young Turks. But as I watched that, I realized why you have two different justice systems based on age, right? And you're supposed to treat young people in a different way because they're not fully developed yet. They're not as intelligent yet when it comes to some of the decisions they make. And in that case, she didn't really realize the weight of what she was doing. And for her life to be completely destroyed over what she did, it just makes me feel kind of sick to my stomach. But again, these backstories humanize them. It makes you realize why they're in there and how they're not really these evil, crazy people. They're just individuals who made a really bad choice, and they need rehabilitation, not the punitive thing that they're dealing with right now.
And kind of a bad choice based on what she saw her mom doing, and like the things in her world kind of led her to that place too. So it's like
so incredible tragic. How she wanted to escape sewing clothing so badly, and then she ends up sewing clothes.
It's such a cruel irony that she was like, I don't want this life my mom has. I want to have these beautiful clothes. She sees this as her way out. And then we get to the prison, they have this test to see who should get the new job. It turns out the test is pointless. They're just going to randomize it, and if you don't get the job, then it's your own fault. They're made to feel that way. So she passes the test despite freaking out during it, and she, in some prideful hubris, goes to the kitchen to say goodbye and ends up telling everyone off, calling them fucking nobodies in Spanish. And then she's stuck to what she was trying to escape desperately the whole time.
Did you guys read that? Because I was thinking I was way off. As it was happening, as the stress over the test was permeating the entire cafeteria, I was like, this test is bullshit. I was like, there's no way this test means anything, you know? And so when it was confirmed, I was surprised I was right. Usually I'm like, yep, I told you. But I was like, oh shit, I was right. This test means nothing.
I did not expect that.
No, and especially not because I feel like big companies, like if you've ever like applied to work at a Best Buy, they ask those kind of questions.
And that's why I always think when I see those tests, I'm always like, they're not gonna read this shit. I think that's why I feel like I was almost bitter from previous experiences and I was gonna be wrong about it, but apparently it's the way it is.
Are ideas better than things? Do you like to be outside? Something else that was interesting in this was we saw more of the will they, won't they from Heeley and Red.
You called me a good man.
I only said what I believed.
So she seems like she's flirting with him. She's trying to doll herself up in a way that he might like. How do we feel about this?
Heeley makes me so uncomfortable.
I hate him.
Okay, how?
Yeah, I cannot not hate Heeley.
Really?
I cannot not hate
him.
I'm empathetic towards him, but I hate him.
Right, he's a confusing character. Because again, you get where he's coming from. He's ingrains himself with the inmates without being the sleazy one.
Yeah.
Which even the baby father who
sleaze,
disappeared now, he was like the nicest guy, he's apparently the likable one, but he's still kind of fucked up, obviously.
I'm hoping that he's gonna come back later in the season.
Oh, Bennett?
Bennett.
I'm holding on because he seemed like such a nice guy.
Right, everyone loved him.
This
But
Bennett thing is so tragic.
He is gone, and he is not coming back. Unfortunately for you and me, not everyone around here is locked up.
Poor Dia.
But Heeley's ingests himself, but you feel like he cares at a different level than just, oh, nah, she's at her most vulnerable state, I'm gonna screw her. He was kind of falling for, which is a little annoying, but it's still, you're like, yeah, the guy's lonely.
Well, this is the episode
rides.
where...
And then we got this new storyline coming in, though, now that Dia's going to give the baby to Georgia's mom.
Yeah.
That happened in this episode.
And she seemed so over it and done. Like, just take it. I don't care. It, not he or she.
Yeah.
She's brokenhearted and
done.
Impulsive at the moment. I don't know.
It's gonna change.
She might have a change of heart in the future.
Yeah.
Knowing her, she will. Let's see, what else is going? Alex thinks Kubra sent someone after her.
Oh, I love this story.
Piper is not very empathetic to this at all.
And now, but there's this random weird, what's the Australian or British accent this woman has in the sewing room?
The new Aussie.
Yeah, so
that's Ruby
Piper's,
Rose, and
Piper's
everyone
giving,
loves her.
She's real hot.
Piper's giving,
she makes me question myself. Just keeping it real.
She's a little bit androgynous. She's very good looking. Everybody has been losing their minds over her. This is like the first, I think in this episode clump is the first time we see she and Piper making meaningful looks at each other, which means love triangle.
I was thinking that. So at first, no, that was my first thought with the woman, the brunette who was running around the track. And then she was telling Piper, this woman's here to get me. And she seems all paranoid. But now we have an extra one. Who's this fourth woman who's here to get Piper? Like, it seems like after she made fun of her for being so paranoid, now there's this woman who's now eyeing her and kind of monitoring her moves.
Oh, interesting
That's
prediction.
what I think maybe something's happened on that side.
I was thinking maybe this like hot new Australian or New Zealander is looking to have a little fun behind bars. I didn't really read into it very much.
You might both be a little bit right.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Let's see what else we see. Poussey has a definite drinking problem.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning. You drinking already?
It's always 5 o'clock in prison.
Squirrels might be after her booze, or maybe not. It's not. Yeah, we're learning more about her this season and her relationship with Tasty, where I think Tasty's trying to protect her.
More development from that, because that was a little bit of a shit show in previous seasons when that didn't really work out in her favor. So, but I think it's good they can all come back around though on that. I wish there was a little. Again, I was mentioning before, I forget some of the characters' names when they don't get such attention. But one of the prisons in the black group, I guess what it's called, the girl with the afro who's the loudest.
Watson?
So I really would like a little more.
Oh, Cindy?
Of her. Yeah, there's something more about her.
She has two.
Yeah.
That's Black Cindy.
Yeah.
I've never met a white Cindy, but okay.
I would like more from her is the only thing. I feel like she's kind of just the loud, comedic interruption every once in a while.
We'll get a little
I don't want to. Yeah, I was about to say I don't want to give anything away, but you'll be happy.
So? Okay.
You'll be happy.
Let's move on to episode 6, Ching Chong Chang, which are the words that come from Pennsatucky when talking to Chang. So this is her central episode, and we finally learn more about her. She hasn't gotten a lot of attention throughout all these seasons until this very episode. And it made me feel really sad for her and kind of lonely and wistful.
It was such a heartbreaking episode. I mean, I liked the episode because it made me feel things, but what I felt was not positive.
Oh, I think she's such a badass, though.
Yeah.
Like, I know her life has been super tragic, but like, I don't know, I have mad respect for her. She went through all this stuff and she was so downtrodden, and then like,
she becomes
she comes back, and exactly. Like, she comes back, she fights for herself. I mean, it's a show about people in prison, so no, they probably did not do it in a great way.
Right.
But like, I have crazy, and then she lives this like secret life while she's there, you know what I mean? Like, she's making her own food and she's like going out to the little shed and like watching her shows. I love her.
How is she getting those oranges is my question.
Someone's bringing them, right?
Yeah. I don't understand
And then
that
also
part.
the phone obviously she has to charge the phone
She's
somehow.
watching soap operas.
There's
She's got her Frito and pea cake.
She still has a way, and she's still running her
Green peas.
whatever her kingpinship from inside the pen. So I love that part. I was rooting for her from the beginning. Of course, there's the sad aspects of it, but when you, at least from my perspective, seeing that, I was like, oh, she's gonna kick someone's ass. She's gonna explode. And I thought it was gonna be on her brother, honestly. And I almost fault him more than the guy who rejected her.
Of course.
You know, this guy was brought in and put in that position and given this authority to size her up and call her a piece of shit. So
you're the brother. You're supposed to protect your
And
sister.
her
So
mother.
I agree with you in that regard. But at the same time, the person who insulted her to her face, I also despise.
Yeah, you can walk out of that room to have that conversation.
She was brought up in just a shitty situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely, you know, devaluing her as a person, you know, in the situation of I'm selling you, and even you're too ugly, you don't have charm, you can't do anything in my store, you eat too much food. It's just like over and over and over, and it's satisfying to see her reclaim her power in a way, even though it's pretty horrible.
I do feel like they're talking about a culture there too. I mean, they're highlighting these things with this type of marriage and how people are treated in the culture, which is something I really enjoy about the show, is when they tell backstories, they really try to create something that's authentic, that goes into someone's past and the area they grew up in and whatever race they are, wherever they're from. It's cool.
Yeah, I love it.
I enjoy it. Can I have just one? I have one point of complaint from this particular episode. Whenever you see Asian people fighting on TV, they don't have to do martial arts. They can fight like just standing with one hand up and other hand back.
I don't think they know how to fight dirty. I think that they usually do professional martial arts of some sort.
That was the only thing that struck me. And I was like, come on, man. They don't have to know martial arts because they're Asian. That's all.
Yeah. I'm not going to comment on that. So something that struck me in particular, and it's probably something that's only important to me, was the interaction between Chang and So-So, because So-So is lonely, and she's saying, you know, I have no one to go to, where's my big Asian family, where I don't fit in, and Chang shouts at her, you're Scottish, you're Scottish. Everyone else in there, I'm half Asian and half white too, for context. Everyone else in there thinks of her as the Asian one, and they are very divided in groups, and it reminded me of a lot of growing up in school and not really being accepted in a place that's extremely racially divided. It sucks. So I'm glad that they showed that part, at least. It continues on with So-So's problems.
And they're laying a good and a very interesting foundation for this Norma cult of Norma thing, where everyone like goes to Norma to get their comfort.
I don't like Norma.
Norma's strange. I don't know what I think of Norma, but I can tell this thing is taking off, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
Right. I agree. I think Norma's storyline has a lot of potential, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of her in upcoming episodes. But going back to what you were saying about So-So, what I actually really enjoy about So-So is just the evolution of her character, because she went in there with like hippie, very peppy.
Getting stoned. Ugh, so fun.
Very much proud of the reason why she was there. Remember, she's there because of some form of social activism that got her in trouble. And it's nice to see her feel a little broken. And not that I'm enjoying her being broken, I'm just enjoying her being a little more self-aware and more aware of the situation she's in, because before there was like a certain naive element to her personality that annoyed me.
She had that one friend visiting her, and she
that
was like,
amazing.
I think it's so cool that you're in here, Brooke. And she was like, it's not cool. I feel stupid. This is stupid.
I was
Never
proud of
come
her.
back.
Me too. Yeah, she's so self-aware in that moment. That's definitely like her character is becoming so much more defined.
So here we also see in the Whispers room, which looks a lot like a sweatshop, more interaction between Ruby Rose, whose character's name I can't remember right now, and Piper, and kind of she calls her out on her shit of oh, you think, you know, on her feelings of not feeling attractive or what have you.
Look how disadvantaged you are when you're
how disadvantaged you are when you have everything.
You are tall and blonde, and your legs are up to your neck. Relax. Enjoy it.
Isn't it weird that that is said to her by another hot white girl?
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't necessarily identify as a girl, but
it doesn't. I mean, she may not in real life, but in the show,
she's extremely attractive.
An
We'll just
extremely
give her that.
attractive lesbian in the show. Yeah. So.
Well, maybe as an extremely attractive lesbian, she has the ability to relate. You know, like not relate in that, oh, poor me, I'm beautiful and I feel so bad for myself, but basically saying like, look, we both got it going on, so shut the fuck up. Like maybe, I don't know. I don't know what angle she was trying to get at that from, but.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Maybe
it was like, I'd like to think of it that way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in my hand now.
We also have the introduction of the kosher meals, everybody realizing those look tastier than what we get, so let's get on the kosher train. To quote Black Cindy, Shabbat Shalom, bitch, to get tastier food. Morello has been on a string of prison pen pal dates, which, I don't like them, except for she finally has a real connection towards the end when she screws up who she's talking to. She thought he was the bird guy, he was the jujitsu guy. I miss Nikki so much.
Oh,
I know.
Well, that's the thing. Is she telling the truth? Because of course she's telling her friends in prison, oh, I'm just trying to get some money, but really she's always alone. And she was one of the more heart-pulling episodes from previous seasons when she was trying to break out and get to the guy that she broke into his house. That was
so
one of the harder episodes to watch, because this woman can't catch a break anywhere, outside or inside.
So do you think she's really just really lonely and unable to admit that?
I'm thinking that, but I feel like now I'm being fooled.
I think it's a possibility. I mean, I think that she's the type of person who wears her heart on her sleeve. And I think that now with Nikki gone, she probably does feel lonely. Because remember, she started doing these random dates after Nikki left. And so she's probably looking for some sort of human connection, some sort of human interaction on a more intimate level. But at the same time, girls gotta eat. You need that commissary money. And, you know.
I mean, Big Boo tried. She had a good idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and then we have this like amazing discussion about the panties and the panty catalogs, right? That's this episode.
Oh, like where are we going to find the token black woman and what shade is she going to be?
How incredible. What a great opportunity to sit and break down how ridiculous these catalogs are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Page 11. That's not too bad. She like a 2. The bitch got blue eyes. Yeah, true.
They talk about everything in here is photoshopped. Man, I got it wrong. My khakis be feeling extra khaki today.
Yeah.
I think they felt kind of bad about themselves after reading that catalog.
Well, yeah, and she takes the panties and says, I just wanted to feel pretty. Don't tell on me.
I know, right?
Oh, this is where Poussey says, I'm so lonely. I need love. I need a girlfriend. Heeley puts Red back in the kitchen after all, after
he finds out
he was like, you played me and betrayed me, and I liked that triumphant look of like, I'm back.
I'm back.
Yeah, you know
Red.
Again, she's another one. You feel bad for what happened with her family and how she even got in there. And then, I mean, again, Heeley, I understand he's hard to like But guy just keeps putting himself in this position. You just found out she played you. You decide to walk around like a petulant child. And then after she says, shut the fuck up, stop being so sad, he goes, okay, I'll do what you want anyway.
But is he being a baby or does he empathize with her? Because she does say, like, what are my options? Like, what are my options here?
Well, she says, like,
he just gets
you get to leave.
Yeah.
You close the gates behind me when you leave, but I guess your feelings matter too.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's still like a quid pro quo situation happening there.
I don't think you could ever have an even relationship between someone in that level of power and someone who is an inmate. Like, I think that's impossible.
It is impossible. There's definitely an imbalance of power. I just feel like he's a lonely person. There was finally a woman in his life who defended him, you know, when she was doing the translation between him and his mail order bride. And he was like, oh my God, maybe this is a woman who's going to give me what I need. I think that he maybe subconsciously thought that.
Well, and I think she does too, because she's having Piper show her how to look prettier and softer. Like, I think that they both don't really know what they're getting into, and I do think they're both interested, too.
I agree. I mean, it's not a fully, I don't think she's fully just playing him. I think there's something there simmering under the surface. It does make me feel for Heeley a little bit, like, you know, everyone deserves love, but I still fucking hate that guy.
He said so many creepy things this season, or up until this
eventually,
episode.
like every now and then it'll come out, like he'll say something super bigoted or super creepy, and I just, it will repel me and disgust me.
Well, and him and the way he treats Roberts. Like the new guard, the new therapist. Yeah.
But I actually love those interactions because it perfectly highlights the gender war situation that we're dealing with in the US, right? Where you have a woman coming into a professional setting and you have a man who's so intimidated by it and so emasculated by it that he lashes out. And so it's like a perfect little, like I said, there's so many political storylines within this one show. It's incredible how they find a way to weave all these different issues into the program.
And now that you mentioned that one, the one, I guess, prison guard relationship that seems to be the most reciprocal and helpful, I forget the two names, the big overweight guy and his woman, and she's the most powerful, talking to her man and woman, but they're both happy.
Yeah. Oh my God, and they're such great characters. Yeah. Like, he's had so many amazing lines. I really love both of them.
Velvet scene?
Yeah, oh my God. Well, and with the nuns, oh my gosh. Like, that's the last season, but it's so good. But I feel like the thing with them is now we're just watching their hours get chopped. We're watching this corporatization come in and destroy their livelihoods. And I am feeling so bad for all those guards right now.
I'm starting to feel weird about them. I wanted to talk about one weird scene when they demanded that Caputo say that he loves them. What was that about?
I don't know what
that was. It's a loyalty thing. I think it's a loyalty thing. And we're talking about them losing their livelihoods. Like, maybe the writers chose a word that was strange, but
say you love us. I love you.
So it seemed like they acknowledged that it was a weird thing to do, but then at the same time, remember, we're humans. So they were throwing that in there with the odd fact of, we're all these professional adults asking me to tell them I love them. I mean, and when the one weird one says it, the rest of them somehow get on board with this.
The same thing happened at TYT as the company started growing larger. Like the originals at TYT went to Jank's office and were like, tell us you love us.
You did that?
No. I do wonder sometimes.
I get it, though. I get why the writers would do it. Even if the word love is the strange choice, I do get the emotion behind it, for sure.
All right, well, we'll see if Caputo loves them and gives into their demands for a more fair workplace. We'll be continuing Orange is the New Black reviews really soon. Let us know what you think below in the comments, and we'll see you next time.